So I went to watch the new Hunger Games film, and I went in with completely no idea about what the Hunger Games are actually about. I knew that this was a prequel to a pretty popular franchise from 10 years ago. Anyways, I watched it for a bit, and I didn't like it at all. In fact, my family and I walked out from the theater after 45 minutes. It was that bad. This was sort of the breaking point for my parents that they're not going to ask my recommendations again. In fact, let me illustrate the kind of films my parents like. On one hand, my mom is ready to take up the challenge of watching new types of films. Every so often I've sat with her watching old-timey Hitchcock thrillers like Dial M for Murder or Rear Window. I did make the mistake of showing her Psycho. Don't get me wrong, it's a genuine classic, but it's definitely not the kind of film you watch with your parents and expect to go about your day as usual, so note to self. My dad, on the other hand, is a tough nut to crack when it comes to showing him any film. There was this period of time where I'd shown him films like Dune and Princess Mononoke, and he completely dismissed them by saying,
Avatar is better.
And I finally broke that curse with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Until we watched Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Look, my brother and I loved that film, but my parents just couldn't find themselves liking it as much as us, which is understandable. But what is not understandable is their eventual comparison to Kung Fu Panda. How do you go ahead comparing a mature, visually dazzling, multiversal adventure to one that is more a heartfelt, humorous underdog story with moments of maturity? But that got me thinking about why we don't get to see more simpler films. Like, let me explain what I mean by simple. Like, my family and I had gone to watch Avatar: The Way of Water, and my mom had never seen the first Avatar, but she was still able to catch up with whatever flow the film was going ahead with. Obviously, she did struggle with understanding the mechanics of the world of Pandora, which is foreseeable being that it is a sequel, but that is what I mean by a simple film. So many of the films that we get to see nowadays in the commercial space are directed more towards young adults, like me. And we're likely to be more interested in films that are more complex and competent enough for critics to rave about. Naturally, studios are likely to greenlight films which are likely to be the subject of breakdown videos on YouTube, which helps create hype for that particular film, and films with a simple narrative, unless they are part of an existing brand like Avatar, are shoved into the pipeline of streaming services as content. In a nutshell, what I'm trying to suggest is that there should be a balance between films like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and films with a simple narrative like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Interstellar, Star Wars, or even Planet of the Apes. I mean, the skyrocketing prices are already a huge reason why older demographics are unlikely to regularly go to theaters, and the lack of commitment towards a full-fledged film is shaping up to be another reason to drive away everybody else who holds the art form of blockbuster cinema dearly. And that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it, please consider subscribing to the channel and pressing that bell icon. I'll bid you another farewell from another video, and I'll see you next time. What is that?